Good evening. I'm Dr. Fred Rouse, the Real Money Doctor, and it's currently Monday. Where are we at here? The 6th of July. Just a few minutes before 7 o'clock, about 10 minutes actually. And I want to do today's daily recap of events that affect the way you get, protect, and enjoy your money, your life, and your retirement. Now, the question for today is, what happened to the first half of the year? And we'll get to that in just a few minutes. But we start every day since early mid-March or so when I started doing these, doing the current COVID case numbers, just to see where we're at, because right now, that's the thing that's been driving everything for the last 6 months, at least. So right now, the current number of COVID cases is 2,911,000 cases so far in the U.S. That's up 187,000 cases since Friday, or actually Thursday when we spoke last. We took Friday off. Now, the deaths right now are 130,100. That's another 1,500 people have died since we spoke last on Thursday. New York State still has the first highest number of cases, 397,000 cases, and their case count went up basically 3,570 or so since Thursday when we spoke. And their deaths right now are 32,219. So they had 155 people die over the long weekend. Now, California has had the number 2 spot for 2, maybe 3 weeks right now. Their current case numbers are 265,000 cases. They're up over 24,000 cases. 24,000 cases since Thursday. And that's going to be the case number. That's going to be the number that's happening for a lot of states right now. They're up a lot. Their deaths right now in California are at 6,374. They had 106 people die since Friday. Now, Florida has moved up to the number 3 spot. Texas has moved up to the number 4 spot. New Jersey has dropped now to number 5. Illinois stays at number 6. Massachusetts stays at number 7. Arizona, however, moved up to number 8. Georgia has moved up to number 9. Pennsylvania has moved down to number 10. And interesting things have been happening. The 7-day rolling average, for new cases in the United States has reached a record high for the 28th day in a row, climbing to 48,000 cases on Sunday, according to Washington Post tracking. Now, their hospitalizations because of COVID rose to their highest level to date in Arizona and Nevada. 12 different states have reported new highs in their 7-day case averages, with West Virginia, Tennessee, and Montana experienced the biggest percentage change from their past records. Now, West Virginia also set a record number of cases the other day, over the weekend. Now, the University of Washington reported at least 121 students have tested positive for the virus. 112 of them happen to live at a fraternity house near Seattle campus. Now, the University Medical School has erected the pop-up testing site near the school's Greek Row. And the coronavirus cases, related hospitalizations in California, Los Angeles County have increased by 32%. The daily number of cases just continues to trend upward. The full state has had a reported record 7-day average of 19 straight days. Florida and Texas reporting record case numbers. Florida and Texas also report record case numbers. Now, both Florida and Texas have reported the biggest daily rise in new confirmed cases over the past few days, with Florida reporting 11,000 new resident cases on Saturday, another 9,900, almost 10,000 on Sunday. Texas reported a record 8,000 cases on Saturday actually, followed by 3,500 on Sunday. California reported 5,400 new cases on Sunday. Arizona reported 3,500 new cases on Sunday. Now, there's a quote according to the Houston mayor, Sylvester Turner. I will tell you, a month ago, 1 in 10 people were testing positive. Today, it's 1 in 4. The number of people who are getting sick and going to the hospital has exponentially increased. The number of people in our ICU beds has exponentially increased. In fact, if we don't get our hands around this virus quickly, in about 2 weeks, our hospital system will be in serious, serious trouble. And that was according to the mayor. Now, at least 2 counties in South Texas say they have hospitals that are already at full capacity. The Phoenix mayor said the state may have opened too quickly and criticized the federal government's response to the virus and basically the lack of testing across the state. Now, the state local newspaper there, the Arizona Republic, reported that in some cases, people have had to wait in line for 13 hours to be tested. The mayor of Miami-Dade County in Florida said that, he'll be reclosing restaurants and dining rooms, gyms, and many other businesses. Well, West Virginia Governor Jim Justice made face coverings mandatory for most residents inside buildings when social distancing is just not feasible. Now, more and more elected officials have really called the rush to reopen a mistake. Now, it's clear that hospital ICU beds are filling up in cities in California, Texas, Arizona. PPE for some workers is in seriously short supply. Testing sites are being shut down due to lack of supplies. The ones that are open have lines for over a mile, sometimes 2. And then the folks at the end of the line, after hours and hours of waiting, when they move to the front of the line, find out that they're out of supplies now and they can't get tested anyway. Now, if you managed to actually get a test, it's still taking a good 4 to 5 days to get the results back. So, despite all the things that you want to test, you can get a test. There's no problem with supplies. There's still a problem with supplies. There's a problem with testing supplies. There's a problem with PPE still. Now, even Senator Mitch McConnell emphasized that the coronavirus pandemic is not over, striking a really, really different note than the president and some Trump administration officials who have sought to play down the extent of the crisis in the United States. And what you get from Trump and the White House is they just tend to ignore it at this point in time. They just don't want to talk about it at all. But here you got Mitch McConnell, who said today, the question today is where we're going to go from here. McConnell said this at a news conference in Louisville Food Bank. Let me be the first to say the obvious. This is not over. We had hoped that we'd be on the way to saying goodbye to this healthcare pandemic, but clearly it's not over. Now, that's from Mitch McConnell. Different story from the White House. And I guess as we get closer to the election, you're going to see more and more people stepping up, because the facts are just so blatantly obvious. Now, President Trump has said on many times he believes the virus is just going to disappear, and one day just all by itself. And he said several top administration officials have argued that the increased availability of testing is the main cause of the sharp spike in cases. Now, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't make any sense. If you don't test, you just don't know what's happening. You still have the cases, you just don't know that they're there. And the real big key, even beyond the testing, is the number of hospitalizations. You can't deny that. The number of hospitalizations, and that's picking up. In states that a month ago thought it was no big deal, thought it was all a hoax. They're finding out now it's not quite as much of a hoax as the president made it sound to be. It's not going away. There's no magic. Now, today, Mitch McConnell renewed his call for Americans to wear face masks in an effort to slow the spread of this pathogen. He said, we've seen surges in certain parts of the country, and I think it's important for all of us in public life to continue to emphasize that the single most important thing each of us can do as individuals to protect not only ourselves, but our friends, colleagues, is to wear a mask. Yeah, this comes from Mitch McConnell now. And he added, everyone should be doing that. If they're not 6 feet away from people, social distancing, and just to be on the safe side, it's a good idea even to do it even if you are 6 feet away from people. Now, Dr. Anthony Fauci, the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, said the United States is still knee-deep in the first wave of the pandemic, calling it a serious situation that needs to be addressed immediately. Again, the first wave. He understands this is not the second wave. This is parts of the country that didn't experience the first wave yet. Now they're into it. Now, Fauci's comments came in wide-ranging interview conducted on Twitter and Facebook by his boss, National Institutes of Health Director Francis Collins. Fauci noted that while Europe managed to really drive down the infections, and now they're dealing with little blips as they reopen. We never came to that baseline, and now we're surging back up. Both scientists, while imploring Americans to take steps like wearing masks and practicing social distancing, also said they understand the importance of getting the economy back on its feet and insisted that public health measures would really accelerate that. Now, the public health effort, if done prudently and carefully, will facilitate the opening, not be an obstacle to the opening. That's what Fauci actually had to say. Now, we also call on young people to realize that they're not invulnerable to serious consequences from the virus. Even though they may not get as sick as somebody else, even enough to end up in a hospital, they can still get very sick for weeks from the virus. And by being infected, they're still propagating the outbreak of the virus and might inadvertently infect somebody else that is vulnerable with disastrous consequences. Now, on vaccines, Fauci said that he's reaching out to Latinos and African Americans who have been disproportionately hurt by the virus to ensure that they will be well represented in the clinical trials. Now, while all this is going on, the stock market continues to make minor daily gains, at least for a while. Today it closed over 26,000, and that's great. Okay. Now, interesting thing to note though with the stock market is that the richest 1% of the country owns half the value of the stock market, while the richest 10% own 92% of the stock market. This could be maybe, possibly, one of the reasons. There's a major disconnect between what you're seeing on Wall Street and what you're actually seeing on your local Main Street. Now, Senator Mitch McConnell appeared to be opening the door today to include some type of direct payments to Americans in the future coronavirus bill. Okay, he was asked if funding for individuals like stimulus check could be included in the March package. Okay, in the piece of legislation, which is going to be coming up, be the fifth COVID response. I mean, they had it in the March package. I think it was number 3. We've done a 4th one. Okay, and now they're working on a 5th. They didn't pass the House version. That didn't go anywhere. But here you go. McConnell said, in the 5th COVID response bill, it could well be. I think the people that have been hit the hardest are people who making about $40,000 or less. Many of them work in the hospitality industry. That could be part of it. That's what McConnell said. Now, Congress has already included a $1,200 one-time payment for individuals making up to $75,000 in the last $2.2 trillion package they passed back in March. Now, McConnell's comments that he made during a stop in Kentucky suggested that Republicans could be looking at lowering the ceiling for potential second round of direct assistance checks. Now, the Trump administration has pushed for the second round of direct payments, to be included in the next coronavirus relief package to be taken up by the Congress. And House Democrats already passed a $3 trillion bill in May that included a $1,200 check for individuals similar to the March bill, but that legislation just not expected to go anywhere. Again, the GOP was just sitting back, waiting to see what happened. Okay, with the use of the money they already put into it. Well, the money they put into it helped, but the overall public health situation got considerably worse. And now that's spreading, and places that were open are now starting to reclose. What a surprise. President Trump said last month that he supports another round of stimulus checks. But again, the GOP lawmakers have really been wary about adding extra stimulus payments because they thought they didn't really directly stimulate the economy and may have not really financially affected the effects of the coronavirus. Now, after first embracing the spending, okay, they really right now are increasingly concerned about the country's growing debt. And that's a story for another day. The debt came out of this is going to be phenomenal. Huge, actually huge. Okay. No, there's a lot of debt going on. They're pulling this money out of thin air. They're printing it as they go. And there's going to be a day of reckoning at some point in time. This is going to go on for a while. Now, the talk of doing a second round of stimulus checks comes up as Congress is really expecting to formally start negotiating the fifth bill later this month when lawmakers actually return to Washington on the 20th. Now, McConnell said that he believed that fifth bill would be necessary, and that would be introducing legislation in the next few weeks. Now, he said, I'll be unveiling something which will be a starting place in a few weeks, and then we'll be able to start dealing with the administration and the Democrats and all the rest. I think we'll be doing something again. I think the country needs one last boost, is what he said. Now, the bill is expected to include a second round of Paycheck Protection Program funding, okay, with a key group of senators currently debating, including a revenue loss test as part of a tighter restriction on the requirements, okay, to get the extra assistance. You know, McConnell also said that Republicans were looking at a shield from lawsuits for businesses, hospitals, and schools that would be retroactive back to December 19 and run through 2024. That's going to get interesting. Now, if you're looking for what I think on the theme of what the next package is likely to roll out there in the next few weeks, we focus on liability reform, kids in school, jobs, healthcare, and that's where the focus, it seems to be, ought to be, according to Mitch McConnell. Now, so lots of things going on. And that really brings me to the question for the day. What happened to the first half of the year? It's really been a busy first half of the year. It's been a different kind of year completely. Absolutely different kind of year. Now, it's a year when Americans as a group are finally starting to realize and understand to a basic core level that no matter how much we wave the flag and point to the words in the Constitution, all men are created equal, but it doesn't necessarily end up that way in reality based on your religion, the color of your skin, or your sexual preference. Now, this is a year when we found out that our servicemen and women had a bounty placed on their heads by the Russian government. And our president actually denied knowing about it, even though it was in his daily briefings. And then he can deny that he knew about it, but after it came out in the public, he didn't do anything when this fact became public. So far, it's been an interesting year. There's been no rousing presidential speech to unite the nation in the middle of a pandemic, near record unemployment, and economic crisis. Instead, we got a speech full of fear-mongering, finger-pointing, and blame-shifting. Now, the White House sort of come to the conclusion right now, and they're pushing the current statement, learn to live with it. So what happened in the first half of the year? It's been a very, very different kind of year. Many things are different. However, some things stay the same. They always have been. They always will. It's been a strange year, to say the least. You know, the constant political upheaval amplified by the international pandemic, the economic crisis that it caused, the racial injustice, and the major police reforms that are now in the spotlight, like Never before. People talked about these things, but this is moving along big time now. Social distancing and wearing a mask, they're new for the year. Public health issues, they've moved the country in a strange political discourse and affected our lives every day. We've now come to expect, the 4th of July, mark the second half of the year, just starting. It's considerably different this year. However, some of us still manage to have some smaller family get-togethers and retain some sense of normalcy. Now, despite all is different, we start the second half of the year with the same basic things that we've always had and we've always wanted. We just want the freedom to do the things we want to do, to associate with the people that we like, and to spend time with our friends and families. Nobody's asking anything phenomenal. We don't all want mansions, but we expect to be able to do that. We want to have enough money to be able to do those things. We want to have enough money to be able to actually retire comfortably. A little bit of travel, not a lot, a little bit of travel. Dine, go out to a restaurant, enjoy our time when we're here. We want to leave a mark on the earth and say, yeah, I was there. I made a difference. With that more basic understanding, there's larger goals, there's larger life goals. It's really easier to start the second half, knowing that you have a smile on your face. Because we do certain basic things, you'll get there. And you have to be able to enjoy the journey along the way, which is the big part. Everybody's living in the past. We're trying to cling to things that are gone. Yesterday is gone. Somebody did something to you yesterday, it's over. If you focus on it, you can't move forward. You're working on this thing that's in the past. You cannot move forward. It just doesn't work that way. And you're locked there. It aggravates your soul. Let go of all that stuff. Move forward. Understand there are certain basic things everybody wants. You want those same basic things that everybody else wants. Doesn't matter what the color of their skin is, whether they're wearing a red hat or a tinfoil hat or no hat at all, whether they're drinking Kool-Aid or martinis and wine. Everybody wants the same basic things. They want to be left alone. They want to enjoy themselves. They want to spend time with the family and the grandkids. They want to have enough money to relax and enjoy their golden years. They want to be able to leave a mark on the world. I was here. I made a difference. That's important to people. That will never change. I'm Dr. Fred Rouse, the real money doctor. My only goal is to help you to get, protect, and enjoy your money, your life, and your retirement. I'd like to help you to get control of your life and your money and make the second half of the year considerably better than the first. One that will allow you to actually retire, or at least have the option to retire in the next 3 to 5 years with the cash flow that you'll actually need to maintain the lifestyle you want and deserve without ever having to worry about a job or money ever again. This is what I do. This is what I do to make a difference in the world. So go to my site, drrousenow.com. Take a look at the 12-minute video I have there. If it makes sense to you, fine, let me know. Maybe I can work with you, I don't know. But let me know. For now, I appreciate you spending some time with me tonight. I look forward to spending some time with you again tomorrow around 7 o'clock or so. Thank you.